Hey, this is William Michael coming at you, and I just want to share today's daily thoughts, and perhaps my thoughts will prove to be inspirational for you and your life, as it's been an incredible journey for me in my life. When many of us come to Jesus and really discover the truth about Jesus, and Jesus truly starts coming into our hearts, it's in a time of amazement, wonder, joy, love, and excitement when we realize that what it is that we know is truly real, and we just go on this quest for knowledge, and Jesus just starts showing himself in ways that are real to you and I. It isn't this cookie cutter approach as many of us had thought, where maybe it's going to church or maybe it's reading the Bible a certain way. And for many years I thought that if you came to Christ, that we would all have to come to Christ the same way. And I remember, as I grew up Catholic, going to priests or people along those lines and saying, "What do you think God wants me to do? What do you think is next?" And people would constantly say, "Well, God will show you." And that didn't really make sense to me until God really started to show me in my life that He was real in a way that only made sense to me. So as we come to Christ, that beginning walk with Him is just in amazement. I really believe our spirit exudes His presence in all that we do, and everywhere we go, we want to share that light and love. And as we progress with that walk with Jesus, there then comes that period where, okay, great, now that you know that I'm real, and now that you know that Jesus knows that you're for real, and you know that He's for real, and you want to transform your life, He then leads us into the next doorway. And that next doorway are all the things in our own lives that have been preventing us from having this true relationship with Jesus, or better yet, having God in our lives. All the things of our earthly existence, all the things of our flesh, all the things that we struggle with. And that's often a scary time. And so often when we go through that doorway, we think it's going to look one way, but it actually turns out to look like much different and much deeper, meaning we have to go much deeper than we had ever thought we were having to go. And when we first enter that doorway, we do it with enthusiasm, and maybe we start with simple stuff. I'm not going to gossip anymore. I'm not going to talk behind people's backs. I'm not going to use profanity. There's those things that on superficially that we know that are wrong in our lives, and we try to be better, and we start to change our lives. But then we start going through the path, or we're through a door, and now we're on the path. And that's where all of the challenges, all of the afflictions, all of the addictions, all the things in our life that are deep down inside that for most of our lives we've never really wanted to look at. And perhaps the times that we did look at them in the past, it was just so scary that we just kind of repressed them. And as we repress these problems and feelings and emotions, it just keeps layering and layering and layering. And that was what made us asleep. That was what made us do the things that we did. But at some point, you've got to address those things in your life. And when we start addressing them, and when Jesus starts bringing them up, they're often very scary. And we get freaked out because not only are we addressing them, it would be different if these problems came out. It was like a book and you could read it. But rather, they come out. And when they come out, it's also being affected. It's being enthused. It's being released into your environment. And often the environment is showing you the results of your actions that you have taken in the past. I think they said that 10% of your actions actually dictate 90% of the reality that you see. And that's really amazing. And those are those difficult times. But as we continue to press through these problems, we find that we, our spirit, our self, our humility, our pride, our ego slowly starts to die. And that's scary because that's where we put all of our identity into that little box. And as it starts to die, we fight it, we react. Some of us walk away from Christ, we go back to our old habits. But then we realize that no, it's not what's happening here. You accepted Jesus. You accepted Him. He's bringing you through. But the more you realize that He's right there with you and holding your hands through these problems, that's where the real transformation takes place. And they often talk about the caterpillar. Our old self was the caterpillar. We're like, doo, 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 doo. And that caterpillar at some point in its life goes into a cocoon. And as it's in that cocoon and changing, it's metamorphosizing, it's transforming, out pops that beautiful DNA, or out pops that beautiful butterfly. And if you were to look at the DNA of a caterpillar, you wouldn't see the DNA of a caterpillar, you would see the DNA of a beautiful butterfly. Just as much as we live lives as sinners that were antichrist, that were just riddled with darkness and evil, inside of us was the imprint that we are a child of God, that God is not only a king, but we are the sons and daughters of a king. And we come out and we're transformed. And often when we come out of that transformation, out of that cocoon, and we've got these wings and we don't know how to use them, and now it's a new environment, and many times we're in the same environment. And that's the interesting thing, is as we go through this transformation, we started off in maybe the same place we live, the same surroundings, and went through this amazing transformation, which is always constantly happening, and you come out transformed and you're in that same environment. And now that you know that you're changed, now the environment doesn't believe you're changing, and you're having to react and do things in this environment in ways that you're not used to, and that's an awkward time. And often we find ourselves stumbling and bumping into walls because we're using eyes now that can see, and we're hearing things that now we can hear. Our hearts are open, we're more in tune with the Spirit, and sometimes that's where we have to remove family and friends or people that are going to bring us down. But what we slowly start to realize is it's not about refusing people or turning our backs on people. It's rather our transformation in our environment actually transforms them. And that's the amazing thing about the spirit of presence, but that's a whole other conversation for another day. So now that you've gone through this transformation, and now I can talk about why I gave you all that background, is my own life. I had everything stripped away from me, and I gave up all of my earthly possessions. I walked away from an amazing corporate gig. I had everything that I could possibly want, but I was in the world and I was on my way to hell. And throughout that transformation, many people were skeptical of all the things that were going on in my life. They wanted the best for me. They couldn't understand why I wouldn't just go get a job, get back into a career type of situation. But slowly, people started to accept me for who it was that I said that I am, because they saw the truth of what was in my heart, and that I love Jesus Christ. And I've been walking in this period for a while with really very little, learning how to manage my money, managing how to live without material things. And I think what's starting to slowly happen, which is amazing, and this is a word for you to encourage you in your life, is that slowly God is bringing back things in my life that perhaps I thought I would never have again, or perhaps I thought that I wouldn't get back. And it's amazing, because now as these gifts are coming back in my life and certain circumstances are happening, it's amazing just how much God really wanted, or has always wanted for me in my life. That is amazingly beautiful. And now that these things are coming back into my life, I have a newfound respect. I walk a little bit more humbly, a little bit more respectful to my environment. And that same walk for you is, if it hasn't happened, it is going to happen. And when that does happen, it's amazing how Jesus Christ is always right there in front of you. You never take your eyes off of Him at the end mission. But on the same note, it's a newfound appreciation for all the things that you have in your life. He's an amazing God. He just never changed. He cannot deny Himself. And He's always wanted the best for us. And the circumstances that we've made in our lives, and perhaps some of the conditions of our lives from our past, our childhood, have dictated who we are today. But that vision and that dream that God had for each and every one of us has never changed. The only one that's ever changed is you and I. And when you truly grasp that, you need to now start reaching out for what it is that God wants to give you, and believe that this is for you, and to believe that He wants you to have this. And if not you, then who else? And some of us are being put into leadership positions, and we say, hey, you know what, why not us? And I just want to thank God and thank Jesus for that transformation He's taken me through, that I know He's taking you through. And as bad as it may sometimes seem, there is light on the other side. So this is William Michael sharing just some words of wisdom with you and love, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.